Hello there, this is Omkar, and today I'm going to talk about four things: reversing a word, reversing a number, word palindrome, and number palindrome. Okay, so what's a palindrome? If you have a look at this string and if you reverse it, it's still going to be A, B, B, A. Okay, so when that happens, we call it a palindrome. And the same thing with this number, if you reverse it, it's going to be 1221. So that's a palindrome. And before we talk about 3 and 4, let's talk about reversing a word and reversing a number. I've already covered reversing a word in my previous video, so I'm going to quickly walk you through this once again. We have a ABCD string and we want to reverse it. The reversed version is going to be TCBA. And the function, the Python function for this is given here. Okay, so this function accepts a word, and that word right now is ABCD, as you can see here. Okay, and then we convert this word into a list of characters. So word now becomes A, B, C, and D. Okay, and then we maintain start and end pointer. So start goes here and end goes here, and we keep repeating this code as long as start does not cross the end pointer. So this code basically says we have to swap the characters at those pointers and then move the start pointer to the right and move end pointer to the left. Okay, let's do this. Let me quickly change the color here. So right now we swap A with D and then move this to the right and move this one to the left. Since start still hasn't crossed end, we will keep swapping and then move the pointers again. Okay, now start has crossed end, so we stop, and our reversed list of characters are D, C, B, and A. Okay, and then at the end we join this list of characters and return it as B, C, B, A. And I can quickly demonstrate this in terminal. So let me clear the screen there and start a Python program, and then I type in word equals to ABCD. Okay, and if I try to print the word, it's going to return the string ABCD. And if I say word equals to list of word and then print the word, it's going to say a list of characters instead of a string. And if I have to convert this back to string, I'm going to simply join it with nothing. So join word and it returns ABCD. That's about the reversing a word program. And there's a small mistake I made here. Let me quickly change the color to highlight this. I made a small mistake here. I should have not indented this part. This return statement should start from here and not here. Okay, alright, now let's look at executing this program really quickly. So here's the program in Sublime, and I'm going to open terminal and run python revword.py, which is the name of that program, name of that file, and it returns DCBA. So if you look at this, it's going to print whatever is returned by this function. So this function accepts ABCD as string and returns the reversed version of that word. Alright, now let's look at reversing a number. Okay, so the first thing you should know about reversing a number is that it's not so simple as reversing a string or word, because we can simply break strings down into a list of characters, but it's not so simple to do it with integers or numbers. So we have to do it a little differently. Okay, this is a positive number which is reversed into 321, and this is a negative number which is reversed into -321, and we have a different logic to handle the negative sign, which is given here and here. But the main piece of code, the main logic to just reverse a number is given here. So we are just going to focus on this part first, and before we talk about this, we have to understand what this does and what this does. Okay, so when we do this, when we do 1 to 3 modulus 10, it's going to give us 3. Okay, and when we do 1 to 3 divided by 10, it's going to give us 1 2. The same thing with 1 to modulus 10, which gives us 2, and 1 2 divided by 10, which gives us 1. And then same thing again with 1 modulus 10 gives us 1, and 1 divided by 10 gives us 0. Okay, so once we break this down into 3, 2 and 1, we can rearrange this into 3 to 1, right? And the second logic for this is to just simply multiply this with 10 in each iteration or iteration. So this is the first iteration, second one and third one. Okay, and after the first one, if we multiply 3 by 10, it's going to be 30 by the time it comes here. So 30, and then we add 2 to it, so it becomes 32. Alright, and by the time this 32 comes to the third iteration, it's going to be 320 because we multiply by 10 in each iteration. So once we have 320, we simply add this 1 to it and it becomes 3 to 1, and then we simply come out of it and return it as 3 to 1 because our loop is closed. The number becomes 0 here, so we don't have anything more here, so we simply return 3 to 1. And that's the whole logic about reversing a number. Okay, so how do we handle the negative part? To handle the negative part, we basically say, is the number negative? Is the number less than 0? Yes. Then we set the negative flag to 1 and multiply the number by -1, and then we do the operations, this part here, we do the operations on the positive number, and then if the negative flag is 1, we simply return the negative number, else we return the number as it is. The way to do it is simply check if the number is negative, then remove the negative sign, work with the positive number, and then if the number was negative, at the very end we simply multiply the final result with -1 and return it as a negative number. Alright, so now let's talk about 3 and 4, which is word palindrome and number palindrome. And we don't really have too much to talk about this because the simplest way to do it is maintain a different variable. Let me just quickly get rid of this part. Okay, so to maintain a different variable, we can just say OG number or something like that, and then copy the original number in that variable, and then we operate on this one, on this existing number, and when we have let's say a reversed version of this, we can compare this with the OG number, and if it's equal, we can say the number was a palindrome. The same thing with words. If, let me just quickly open that program. The same thing with words. So when we accept a word, we can say we have a OG word equal to the word. So we store the given word inside a variable OG word, original word, that's what I mean, and then we operate on the given input, and then at the very end we compare this word with the OG word, and if it's equal, we say the number was the word was a palindrome. And one quick thing before I end this video is, someone mentioned in the last video that we can have word equals to hello and simply reverse it using this Python technique. Yes, this is completely valid and acceptable, but the whole point of making this video and the other video is to show how we can do this by hand, how we can build the logic and not use inbuilt Python functions or inbuilt methods. Alright, so I hope this is useful to people. I hope this is useful to students. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next video.